Hi, welcome to our kitchen, and today we're going to make our favorite Christmas cookie, kolachki. What you need to make kolachki is 2 8-ounce packages of Philadelphia cream cheese, 4 sticks of butter. Now these are both been out on the counter for about an hour so that they soften. And then we're going to add approximately 4 cups of flour. We'll see how the dough mixes and we'll decide how much we're going to put in when we get there. You also need your favorite fillings. We use raspberry solo filling, poppy seed, almond, and then we make our own cream cheese filling to put in there. We used to use prune. I made these cookies with my grandma when I was younger, and she liked prune and apricot, but these are the 4 flavors we go with. So as I said, you need to soften the butter and the cream cheese. Put it in your KitchenAid mixer if you're lucky enough to have one. My sister-in-law and my mother-in-law got me this several years ago for Christmas, which was a wonderful surprise. So the 4 sticks of butter are going in the large mixing bowl, and now the 2 packages of the Philadelphia cream cheese. I've never used another brand, but I wouldn't recommend using another. There aren't that many ingredients in this recipe, so you might as well go with the best. So there goes 1 cream cheese. And all of this is very soft, so it'll mix together very easily. Lots of cheese. Okay, then we'll just put the paddle down and lock it and start mixing it together. Okay, so the cream cheese and the butter are creaming together in the mixer. I'm scraping down the sides so everything kind of gets incorporated. It's really nice and soft. Really, when you don't see any more white of the cream cheese, you know that you're pretty well mixed. And now this is where it's going to get a little tricky as to how much we should add in. Slowly mix it so that we don't have a flour shower. There's no sugar in the recipe and there is no eggs in the recipe, so sometimes we take samples as we are cooking. I think the 2 cups is just about going to do it. Now as we are rolling the dough out, we are going to have a lot of flour on the counter, so some of that flour will get incorporated into the dough. I think that we should add a little bit more flour. This is kind of soft. There's no exact science to the kolachki recipe. I gave out the recipe once to a teacher, and she called me at 8 o'clock at night and said it wasn't working for her. And that's why, because your grandma has to teach you how to do it. Help you feel the dough, get it just to the right consistency. Okay, so we'll lift it out of here, take the bowl off, and kind of try to incorporate the dough together. Make sure that it feels good. And like I said, you're going to put more flour on the counter, so it's going to get a little stiffer. The dough feels really nice to work with, so we're going to move over to the counter that we cleared. Very generous with the flour that you put out. Pour it out onto the counter so it doesn't stick. And you need to get a rolling pin out. So I'm going to take about 1/3 of the dough, make it into a nice ball in my hand. It's not sticking to my hands. I think there's a good amount of flour. And I put it on the counter, coat both sides really well, and make sure this flour is underneath, because we're going to have to cut these into squares. So I start rolling it and turn it. I'm not pushing hard at all, and I'm not pushing right where the dough is either, so that it kind of makes it a little more even, because you want all the cookies to be even because they're going to be in the same pan cooking together. We're going to try to roll this out as big as we can so that when we cut it into squares, get the most that we can. Well, kolachki is a Polish cookie, spelled Kolachky. Kind of like a pastry because the dough fluffs up a bit. And I would say maybe 1/8 of an inch high.
Yeah, it's really, I'll get a close-up on it.
It's really skinny.
It's really thin. There's a comparison to my finger.
Then we're going to get some knife and we'll cut a little bit off the side so we have an even side. And then I just cut approximately the same width, although that looks a little thicker, all the way down. Doesn't look like the dough's sticking too badly onto the counter. And as you can see, this is going to make a lot of kolachki right here. The recipe is for a big family get-together. These freeze really well in the freezer for quite a long time, and they'll still taste really good, but usually they're gone. Now we're going to cut it the opposite way. I'm trying to make squares. Sometimes they look more like rectangles. This is one of the jobs my grandmother used to have, rolling and I would get to fill it and folding job. Get too messy with the filling because then you're going to have filling on the counter when you're trying to roll out the next batch of dough. They're not perfectly even, but we'll take out any ones that we don't like. So then 2 spoons for each. What should we make first? Raspberry, poppy seed, or almond?
Raspberry.
So 2 spoons for each. Take a spoonful of filling and work my way down, putting some filling in the middle. And if you put too much filling in, it's going to kind of open up. So you don't want to put too little, you don't want to put too much, just the right amount, right kind of in the middle. Bethany is washing her hands because she is going to get ready to fold. Okay, I preheated the oven to 350. Now it's very simple to pick this up. Fold the 2 corners to the middle. Fold the other 2 corners to the middle. And there's the kolachki. Some people do a circle kolachki. Just fill it and don't fold it. You could do it that way. It's a little easier. And then these can go on the cookie sheet very close together because they don't spread. They might get a little taller, but they don't spread. This batch we made almost a whole can of raspberry. And they don't have to be perfect because you're going to be dusting them with powdered sugar. And we kind of make them into a bite-sized kind of cookie. Most people just pop the whole thing in their mouth. There's the first batch that are going in the oven. We counted over 60 cookies. So we'll put it into the top. These bake for 10 to 12 minutes at 350 degrees. But we have to check them. If they move on the tray, we'll know that they're done. So now we're ready to roll out the second batch. Took over rolling and cutting. I'm going to make the cream cheese filling. And we're going to make a half of a batch, but I'm going to tell you the recipe for a whole batch. It's 1 container, 8-ounce container of cream cheese, 1 egg, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. But since we're only doing a half, I'm going to just eyeball this half of an egg, 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon pure vanilla. Okay, here goes the vanilla. 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And the cream cheese was softened. They're going to get a little bit brown. And they're going to move. They're not moving yet, so we know they're not done. We have some thoughts on the type of filling and which one is the best. I personally like the cheese or the raspberry or the almond.
And then what kind do you like, Emily? I like almond. And then Bethany likes the best kind, poppy seed.
Nobody else likes it except Daddy.
Yeah, no one likes poppy seed besides Bethany, me, and Pop. Why is
Auntie
Bethany
Edie
in
likes
third
it.
person? Cheese. What you guys doing?
This is an assembly line kind of baking. This is a fun one to get everybody in the family involved.
And you could be like 4 years old and do this, because that's what we were. We're like 3.5.
Yep, we have a picture of the girl. Some things don't change. Oh, then these are really small. Look at how they're moving. These are complete. Oh, they smell so good.
Look at the glisten.
No, nothing is on the bottom of the cookie sheet because you have so much butter in the recipe that it's not. So now here's the finished product. All we need to do is put some powdered sugar, lightly dust them. Hope you enjoyed our Christmas tradition.